I'd like to introduce the candidate who's running for U.S. Congress in Missouri's 4th District.
Thank you all so much. Thank you so much for coming out tonight. My name is Renee Hoagenson, and I intend to be the next representative of Missouri's 4th District. It's an honor to stand here before you today on International Women's Day, a day that brings attention to women's accomplishments and obstacles. This day of protest brings attention to the power of all women. The first thing to know about me, as Mackenzie said, is that I, like you, am part of the resistance. The organic growth and development of these Facebook groups is nothing short of a phenomenon. Participating in these groups has been a source of comfort and camaraderie in the weeks after the presidential election. It has helped me understand, as I hope it has helped you to know, that we are not in this alone. We are all in this together. On the morning of November 9th, I was in a state of shock and disbelief, as I believe most of us in this room were. I felt like we had just experienced a national catastrophe. Several good friends called me that day, and we talked out our disbelief. But after a while, I saw a sliver of hope. In the days and weeks that followed, I saw the start of this resistance. People from all walks of life joining together to stand up and make their voices heard. And our ranks are growing each and every day. We're coming together and working in ways we never have before. The Atlantic estimated that 550 cities held across the United States participated in the Women's March. Another 100 cities around the world participated. 3 million people, 3 million women marched. Vicki Hartzler called that radical liberals from the fringe. Yeah. 3 million people in this country, and we're radical liberals from the fringe. Since that march, we continue to come together and work. Protests, meeting, town halls, resistance is happening every night of the week. It's happening in living rooms, community centers, and pubs across the country. People are active and connecting. We're realizing how important our efforts are and how loud our voices can be. I hold on to the notion that this work, this coming together, is the greatest good that can come from our current situation with the White House. I hold out hope that together, our voices can be deafening. Yeah! Donald Trump claims that our protesters are paid, like Mackenzie talked about. That is very insulting. I have been to a certain senator's office, I've been to forums, and I've been to town halls. We are going to these events because we're concerned. We're concerned about the direction this country is headed with Trump at the helm. People are taking time off work to attend these events. They aren't making money, and in some cases, they're actually forfeiting pay to voice their concerns. It's insulting to say that our efforts are disingenuous. Vicki said in an interview that she doesn't see the benefit of town hall meetings. Apparently she isn't interested in hearing the voices and concerns and opinions of our district. Apparently she isn't really interested in representing the people of the 4th District who elected her to office. Well, I am interested in representing Missouri's 4th, and I'm interested in what you think and how you feel about issues facing Missourians. Yeah. First, there are a few fundamental things that we must do to improve how our government works so that we can affect real change in the lives of people. We must get money out of elections. Yeah. We must have campaign finance reform. If elections are publicly funded, each candidate will be on a level playing field. Politics will not be for the rich anymore. Wealthy people people will not be able to buy influence. We cannot have elected officials beholden to anyone but the people they represent. And if they are beholden to a wealthy donor, they cannot accurately represent the people who elected them. This is a fundamental problem with our current system, and it is time to fix it. Our resistance is the grassroots efforts of taking our government back from the self-interested. We want change in our government, and we've wanted it for a long time. We elected Barack Obama based on the desire for change in how Washington operates, and now we have 45, partly because of his promise to drain the swamp. Since the election, I've had several Trump supporters justify their vote saying, "I just wanted change." People are tired of career politicians who pocket money from big donors and vote against what's best for their constituents. The more Democrats that we can send to the House who have the heart to serve, the more likely we are to pass campaign finance reform. Now is the time. We can change the system. Missouri voted for campaign contribution limits in state races. Our district voted to pass that amendment by about 69%. I believe we can get campaign finance reform through Congress. I believe that this is the key to creating the actual change for the people of our country. Secondly, we must create a different system to divide the districts in our states. We must either have an independent entity redraw these districts with a specific set of parameters, or we can create a software program to do that. This will also contribute to having actual elected officials represent their respective constituents. Let's talk about voter registration. Here's an idea. When a person is issued a social security number, they're registered to vote. Problem, so let's move on. Each of us has the right to vote. If we have a social security number, we're in the system. What more is there? This is 2017, and we have the software to keep our voter rolls updated. This focus on voter fraud is unnecessary. We all know that the intention is to lower voter turnout with demographics who may vote Democrat. Everything I've read indicates the incidence of voter fraud is minuscule. We certainly shouldn't be spending money to create programs around voter registration that simply aren't needed.
Right. True.
Yeah.
There are so many issues that we're facing as Missourians and as Americans, and I have opinions and ideas about many of them.
Yeah, you do.
I'm sure that you do too, actually, and I'm interested in hearing your opinions as well as the experiences that have brought you to your opinions. And briefly, I'm going to touch on a few of these issues, not all of them, but I'm going to touch on a few of them that are near to my heart, so that you have an idea of where I stand. There are so many issues that need attention. Okay, personally, I believe that we have a societal hierarchy of needs. We must protect our earth, that is our home. And secondly, we must create an environment in which all Americans feel safe and can thrive.
Yep.
First, protecting our earth. Without this, we are literally nowhere. We must have elected officials in office who understand and respect science and fact. We must keep our EPA armed to further ensure that our earth is protected and that our people have clean water. Fracking must be stopped. Renewable energy can and will replace coal.
Yeah.
As you know, events right now are unfolding around healthcare. Already, the American Medical Association and ARP have come out and spoken about how devastating the Republican plan for healthcare is. Millions of people will lose their healthcare and some will die due to this plan. I can tell you that if Democrats had a majority in Congress right now, the plan is what would die. We must continue to offer affordable health care and walk toward universal health care for everyone. Republican Senator Bob Dole was one of the first people who understood that health care for all will actually save the government and the taxpayers money in the long run. Do you know who it won't benefit? Industries like insurance and pharmaceuticals. But think about this. Throughout history, industries have changed and people have adapted. Legislation should always be about what's best for the most people. We cannot allow profits for some to be a priority over the needs of many, and that is what's been happening in regards to healthcare in our country. This brings me to jobs and education. I read an article from CNN recently that there is a glut of skilled jobs available that we don't have enough skilled labor to fill. I have to admit, that really surprised me. We have people in our country who are underemployed. Let's help them get the training that they need to do better for themselves and to fill those jobs. Let's provide low-cost or no-cost higher education for our people. There is a way. We Americans are clever enough and we're creative enough. We have a revenue of $3 trillion a year. We can invest in our people and in Main Street to strengthen our economy from the grassroots up. We can make it happen. When people learn new skills and can make more money, they have a higher sense of satisfaction, and their labor creates value and contributes to the good of all. That seems like a pretty important goal. I say we get creative with job creation.
Yeah.
Touch on Dodd-Frank for just a minute. I actually have a lot more to say about Dodd-Frank than what my little snippet is here, but if anybody's really interested, we can talk at length. I'll put it up on my website. The repeal of Dodd-Frank simply must not happen. This important regulation that protects us from financial catastrophe, as you know. After reading about Vicki's meeting with bank executives, her pay-for-play meeting that Mackenzie referred to, it occurred to me that what Republicans want to do is use simple market realities as an excuse to repeal this important regulation. Without Dodd-Frank, it is like the wolves babysitting the kittens. And we saw how that worked out. It has taken us years to recover from that financial collapse, and we must guard against that happening again. We must address the rising addiction, mental illness, and suicide rates in our country and in our county.
Yeah.
We cannot turn a blind eye to these tragedies. We are certainly going to see an increased need for more mental health professionals. We must address the overrepresentation of our Black citizens in jails and prisons.
Yes.
It adversely affects the entire community if a person just stays in the system. Sons and daughters are left without role models. Often families are driven further into poverty. Once on paper, it can be difficult to rejoin the workforce in a meaningful way. We can lower the recidivism rate by making better efforts to help integrate people and bridge the gap. No one should ever be discriminated against for any reason whatsoever. Not for race, not for religion, not sexual orientation, nothing. We must respect one another. We must honor our differences and look to see how we are the same. Every American is entitled to the same pay, rights, and liberties afforded by our great country. misogyny, inequality, oppression will not be tolerated. We must protect one another and stand up together to fight any oppression. We all know that the most important action that we can take to voice our opinion is through voting. Please remember to vote in the upcoming election, April 4th. These are municipal and board elections. Every single vote is important in every single election. I encourage everyone to vote for Gordon Christensen for Boone Hospital. Gordon is a physician, a man of integrity, and will bring a conscientious mind to the hospital board. Please vote for Michaela Skelton. For Missouri's 50th. Every Democrat we can elect to the Missouri House increases the likelihood that we can correct the biased gerrymandering that we are subjected to. Michaela is the best choice for this seat, not just because she's a Democrat, but because she's Michaela. Intelligent, thoughtful Michaela. Some of you may be wondering why I'm starting so early to work towards next year's midterm elections. There are many people who think that this congressional seat can't be won by a Democrat. There are people who think this congressional seat, I will admit that it might be difficult considering how our districts are currently gerrymandered, and we're definitely the underdog in this fight.
Yeah.
But we can do it.
Woo!
Most people will win. And yes, it will take a lot of work from a lot of us. And it will take a lot of people to come out and vote in 2018. And yes, unfortunately, the reality of this particular race is it's going to take a lot of money. And so I'm going to have to ask for money, by the way. But if I ask a lot of people and everyone gives what they can, I know that we can get there. Commitments to you, 4th District. When we win this, and when you send me to Washington, I will listen to you.
Yeah.
I will be accessible to you.
Yeah.
I will be transparent. I will fight for you in Washington. I will truly represent you, the people of Missouri's 4th District. I want to thank Mackenzie Everett Kennedy for organizing and working to bring this event together. And thanks to Michaela Skelton for coming out and speaking this evening. I'd also like to thank Nate Irvin, Randy Huggins, Teresa Hensley, Karen Miller, Rick Pace, and my children who are here, Alicia, Eric, and Jenna. Afterwards, and I'm looking forward to meeting you individually and answering any questions that you might have. And thank you so much for coming.